Some of them have reached equity, like I think that's only, besides Buffalo City, eThekwini reached equality. You can see, they're the same. So Buffalo City and eThekwini are doing pretty well compared to all the other metros. So this is just a summary of what I've just said. So City of Tshwane and Nelson Mandela Bay, the worst performing in terms of female representation as MMCs. So just the summary, 3 metros have the largest gaps between male and female. These are Nelson Mandela, City of Tshwane, and City of Cape Town. These are cities run by the DA. That's just a fact. 4 metros have moderate gaps of 9.1, so the smaller number. That's City of Joburg, Ekurhuleni, Mangaung, and eThekwini. Only 1 metro reached 50-50 balance, as I've just said. So just to summarize, the situation is pretty grim for female councillors as office bearers. And this is just to summarize. If you look at that, it shows 3 metros, the situation improved. 3 metros, the situation deteriorated, and only 2 metros, the situation stays the same between 2011 and 2016. The last column on the right, it just gives a summary of what improved, which metros improved, which ones deteriorated, and in overall terms at the bottom, the figure is misleading in the sense that it shows that female MMC is decreased by only by 1. But if you look at individual metros, you'll see that the situation was more grim than the bottom line shows. So this is just a visual representation of what I've just talked about. I'm trying to speed up to the end. So basically before I go to the concluding remarks, what it means is that, just to be crude, there's been the largest contributors to the decline in the number of MMCs, the largest contributing metros are the 3 metros of City of Cape Town, City of Cape Town, Tshwane, and Nelson Mandela Bay. They contributed to the largest number of declines amongst MMCs. What minimized the decline is that many ANC-run metros, they tended to either have higher numbers or they stayed the same. So ANC metros tended to either stay the same compared to 2011 or increased. For DA-run metros, 1 metro only, City of Joburg, it stayed the same. All the others, they went down. So the ANC metros overcompensated for the decline that happened in the DA metros. This is just a visual representation. So concluding remarks, just to be crude, the quest for gender equality suffered a blow in the 2016 elections. Women continue to be underrepresented as ordinary councillors as well as office bearers. And then we said this earlier, the electoral misfortunes of the ANC appears to have led to the general decline for women in politics at local government level. And the opposition parties, we believe, it's an important factor that many of them have not adopted internal strict codes for gender equality, including the 50-50 voluntary quota, and that continues to hamper progress towards gender representation, equal gender representation. And as I said earlier, the political parties failed to nominate more women as PR councillors. So these are some of the factors that contributed to that. I'm going to stop here. Some of the recommendations we have are contained in the report. So these are the recommendations that you have in the report regarding what we believe the actions that need to be taken to address the problem. It's been a long presentation, so I'm going to skip that. Hopefully you'll see it in your packages. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and I guess when you answer questions, you can refer going down. We are concerned, and I was just thinking that this is the year we celebrate 20 years of our Constitution, And this is the year we celebrate 20 years of this entity, of this Chapter 9 institution. So we're not celebrating positively, we're a bit concerned that the numbers are going down. So with those presentations, those words, those concerns, and the celebrations where we have to celebrate, over to you now for questions. I think the time we have, we can go up to 11:30 please for questions. So let's go up to 11:30, introduce yourself, and then take it from there.
Injustice, or are you just going to be standing on the sidelines saying that the female representation is going down now politically and all that? And my second question is directed to Commissioner Mapazi. I just want to find out from you, do you think that the ANC is really concerned in addressing the issue of gender parity in its councils, considering the manner which you were answering as dismissed as the first female executive mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay in 2009, and also adding to the fact that the Nelson Mandela Metro is one of the municipalities that has done really bad according to the survey. Thank you.
All right. Please jot your questions down.
I'm directing this to Dr. Abu. Just for clarity.
Your name?
Oh, sorry, Zianda Ngogo from Eyewitness News.
Yes.
For clarity's sake, maybe you did outline it. So eThekwini is the only metro where female councillors, they either met the 50% gender parity or they exceeded it. But is this for both PR? Just PR.
Just PR.
Okay.
Right. Any other question? Ask us. We're here. Thank you. All right. Let's answer that first lot. You want to start from Mapazi?
Okay.
Maybe you should the first one.
Okay. Thanks, Chairperson. I think I'll start with the question that was raised about political parties, putting the blame on political parties. Yes. The straightforward answer is yes. Because it's political parties that nominates people to represent them on the list for election. If you talk ward councillors, it's a political party. They have a processes of nomination. So the political parties first, they should be able to amend their documentations, their policies, so that they could have the 50-50 quota as part of their process to ensure that representation of women is done and is accepted in the base process, the baseline processes of political parties. Because if you don't have that in their documentation of 50-50, and therefore people, they won't see a need for them to represent. Because if you remember what Chairperson has said, that we've done studies on the documentation and the documents of all political parties, and we found out it's only the ANC that's got 50-50 quota. All other political parties, they do not have that in their documentation, in their policy document as a political party, and therefore, there is no document that enforces the political parties to have the 50-50 representation, and therefore it's important that political parties should ensure that there's a quota of female representation in all their programs that they engage on as a political party, and that will assist the concern that the CGE we are raising today on the outcome of local government election. The second question, Deputy, the concerns of the ANC. ANC's got a quota of 50-50. It's a standing document to ensure that all women are represented in all structures of government in any structures, there's 50-50. If you refer to 2009, it was not based on gender. It was based on other issues, outside the gender issue. And if you remember that in 2009, when I went out as an executive mayor of the Nelson Mandela Metro, I had a deputy who was a male. And therefore they brought a male as an executive mayor, and they brought a female as a deputy mayor. So the issue of gender was still balanced in that office of the executive mayor, even with the changes that took place. So I would still say that the African National Congress still adhered to the issue of the quota and still adhered to the issue of 50-50. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Chair?
No, Dr. Rapo asked me to. I think Commissioner Mapazi, Dr. Mapazi has addressed the issue, but I think I'm coming to the issue about what are we doing as a Commission for Gender Equality to address some of these issues. Definitely, we have to political parties. I endorse that. Because political space is created by political parties, and we're not leaving out the smaller parties. The study we conducted in 2012, 2013, we included the UDM, we included the IFP and other parties, so that you can also educate them around the issues of gender parity. So we are not, because we are not sure what is going to happen tomorrow. Maybe a smaller party will become a bigger party. Therefore, smaller parties are also very, very important and also play a bigger role as well. The other critical issue as well is that if, what we've also observed in other studies that we've conducted is that if there are fewer positions, only males are going to get those positions. If you revisit our report in 2013, 2014, that's what we're gonna see. But what we do as a Gender Commission is we have a mandate to educate. One of the issues is when we have programs in communities, we also invite political parties and other structures at a community level to be educated around the issues of gender equality, international instruments and so on. This year, for example, we are rolling out a program on educating local municipalities on SDGs, sustainable development, and we are going to actually ensure that that SDGs is a compact of other international instruments that are going to be educated for that. We also have public hearings as a Commission for Gender Equality, where we call different entities to come and appear before us around issues around gender equality as well. Some municipalities have actually appeared before us. Those who have actually appeared before us, they always understand gender equality better. Just before the elections, we took a decision as a commission to engage political parties, national and provincial. We even worked with the IEC to actually brief them around these particular issues. To say, after the elections as well, we'll also issue a report in terms of how they actually done it. All of them promised us to say gender equality is going to be one of the principles going to be driving as well parties. We met with the IEC, with the political parties at the IEC nationally. We've also met with political parties at a provincial level as well to try and actually address these issues. We don't only do that. With these reports, the Commission for Gender Equality is responsible to report in Parliament. Once we've actually finalized this report, we're going to actually launch this report with Parliament, so that Parliament could actually invite us to come and present on the report, and also hold government spheres accountable for such in accuracy. So therefore, as a General Commission, that's what we do. We do research, we educate, we also advise. In terms of the Commission for Gender Equality, the CGE Act, as well as the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, we have to advise entities around these matters and educate them. So that's what we do. We have our own program, but they must also know that in terms of the Structures and Systems Act as well, they also know they have to promote Systems Act and Structures Act. Local councils should also promote local democracy. It is also in their own interest to actually educate the local communities around issues of democracy and so on. So therefore, political parties as well should not just pay lip service around gender equality. They must actually, because they are really living out a very important sector of society, which are women. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Oscar Masia from Josephine. I just want to know what is going to happen if DA, for instance, they are not willing to amend their policy.
Any other question? Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Cliff Shiko from Alex FM News. One can say, according to observation from Alexandra, most of the community activists, later they join politics, and most of them are males. So hence maybe you find that more males in the city of Johannesburg get PR councillors. So do you have any program that you can encourage women in the township to be more of community or rather political activists so that they can get those PR seats. And then the next question goes to my commissioner over there so that
Mapazi,
no,
the
yes,
voter.
yeah. Can one say the social issues in our communities may be the cause of these gaps between the males and the females in all the metros across the country?
Ah, it's getting warm now. I'll give you and
So I just wanted to know if any recommendations made by the Commission have any kind of enforcement powers or bearings on legislation, on the political parties, or that kind of thing.
Okay.
Thanks. So, Mr. Shoze, are you effectively saying that the DA should take a bigger portion of the blame for this whole gender imbalance that we're seeing in the community?
Yes. All right. All right. Since they mentioned you by name, Chairperson, answer.
That direct question, it's important if the party is growing, it must also take into consideration the aspirations of women. Therefore, the DA should be blamed if it increases and it's leaving women out. And it must make sure that as a party, if it grows, it cannot, because also women are voters. About 53% of voters in South Africa are women. Therefore, I could really say that it should be blamed, it should actually go back to the drawing board. They say when we engage them that for them, they only look, they are not for quotas. They only look at the merits. Therefore, we as a National Commission, quotas are also important, merits are also important. We must also merit it too. Otherwise, we are going to leave a very important section of our people out. And it ties very well with what my friend from Alexander is saying. How do you bring women on board and so on? So that's very, very critical. Just one question, you can sneak in, Deputy Chair, around the issue of what are we doing in encouraging women leadership. And as a Commission for Gender Equality, the CGE Act encourages us to work with like-minded institutions. On these matters, women leadership, there are NGOs who are doing that. And for us, we can always assist those NGOs and other political parties to ensure that we educate them around gender equality and issues of substantive equality. And as a General Commission, we don't believe that we have a lot of women who are capable in the country who can do this. It's just that we need to give them that space to actually do it. Instead, I was listening to about 58% students who are women in these universities. And they were graduates of people who are actually it's not a matter of the merit and the quotas and so on, but it's also the will and the political will of these parties to accept women as part of their political structures.
Okay. Social issues, Commissioner Porter?
Well, I think I want to thank Chairperson. I wanted to actually foreground my answer by saying that, I mean, when you look generally at the election, our research, they reflect what the society is about. If you like, I'm saying that where I'm sitting here, it's a mirror. In fact, it mirrors who we are. So we should in fact not be surprised, but to say how disconcerting that is. And by that I mean that the results are a clear indication to ask very rhetorical questions. Do we value women? Do we respect women? I mean, their skills, their competence, all of those. So I'm just saying that in this room, this morning, the elephant in the room is patriarchy. That, I mean, the activists you're speaking about, we know in this country that, and the chairperson spoke about, the majority of people, in fact, who are community mobilizers, who do door-to-door, I mean, at a very, if you thumb sucking, without doing any scientific study, you would know that it is women who would knock on doors, it is women who would be party liaisons. I mean, by the way, one of the things that we did as a commission was that we're actually observing, I mean, the majority of commissioners here, we're observing these elections. You would come in there, say 5:30 in the morning, the majority of people who were party agents, who were party, all of these are women. But then, when it comes to, when it comes to the substantive leadership role, women would always be overlooked. So I'm just saying that it's not about the social ills, it's about how this society, and the world for that matter, treats, regards, value women's work.
Thank you. That advert, you know that advert of one for you, one for me, one for me, one for me, one for you. That's what is going on with women. Commissioner Mapazi?
Thanks, Deputy. I wanted to respond on this issue, whether we put the blame on the DA. If you remember that the chairperson said we did a study from rhetoric to gender equality. We did a study. We gave DA an opportunity to come and present themselves, but they failed to do so. So we can only analyze what we have. Out of the report, out of the representation, we display DA does not have equal representation when it comes to women. But we cannot say their documentation or their policies do not reflect the issue of gender equality, because we did not manage to analyze themselves, to analyze the A, because they failed, or we can say they refused, because we wrote several letters to their offices to request them to come and present, because we, at that time, before 2014, we identified the top 5 big political parties in Parliament, and we called that top 5, and DA was one of them, but they refused to come and present themselves on the table to the CGE to do the research that we're doing. But at the face value, if you look at face value on the report that has been presented today, the majority of municipalities which are governed by the DA at the present moment do reflect that gender equality is not prioritized by the political party itself.
Chairperson, I also wanted to add, it may not be linked directly to this, but you'll remember all of us that are seated here, Chairperson, that there were incidents, and by the way, one is going to preface this by saying that this is not a DA bashing press conference, a release of our study, which is scientific, which is authentic, so that we do not create an impression that CGE is ANC in prayer. The point I'm making is that, I mean, I remember that there was at another election, at another sphere of government, you had all male members of the executive council. We're all males. And the reason has always been that, look, skills, competence. But for heaven's sake, what are we saying? It's in fact, you are saying that women are not competent, women are not skilled. When you have 53% of the voters in this country, half of the population are women, are you honestly saying that you can't find women with skills, with competence? Thank you, Chair.
Can I just add on the issue of whether we are blaming the DA? We're not blaming the DA. Look at that slide. You'll see. I mean, this is the information we got from the metros. Look at the 3 metros where the situation improved.